this is going to be, I think, a fun one. I'm going to make a variety of just very basic car hoods and show you some really neat, quick ways that you can add details to those surfaces. This is going to tie together a lot of the just basic concepts that we've covered thus far, and I think it'll really start to show you the power of being able to manipulate your surfaces so directly and having an understanding of degree and when that can help you, right? And when that really frees you up to simply sculpt your models. So to start with, I'm going to take a surface. I'm just going to do surface plane corner to corner, and I'm going to just make essentially half a hood. I'm going to call that my hood half right there, my proto hood half. Right, turn the points on. Right, this is just 4 points. Right, it's a plane, super simple, and we're going to run change degree, and we're going to do 2 by 2. And I'm just going to start to point edit this so that it suggests an automotive hood to us. I'm just going to pull these back a little bit. I want to make this whole thing maybe a little bit more in this way, right? Give it a little like this to it. And of course, nobody really wants a flat hood. And what we can do, these verts here are along the center line, and these verts are lined up in the same Z, right? Everything's a plane right now. But so what we know is, like, I can grab these and I can pull these up and give this thing some arch. And not only am I giving it some arch, I'm already automatically setting the tangency across the center line, right? Because the YZ values of these are the same as the YZ values of these, right? You bring these two rows up at the same time. You can do whatever you want. This is all automatically symmetrical across the center line, right? I can show you, if I mirror this. So this is something that I do all the time. We already have something that's just perfectly smooth across the center line. I can analyze it and show you. And not only is it going to be tangent, it's going to be curvature continuous as well. I mean, heck, it's flow continuous. This is ridiculous, right? So really, really quick little trick that I do all the time is just grabbing the center line row of control points and the next row over and just deflecting those any way that I want. And knowing that that can keep my tangency, right? So we can just play around with this thing any way we want to turn it into our proto hood. Right now, we're not actually making a real car hood. We're suggesting the shape and using this as an exercise, right? But we want this sort of something plausibly close, right? And sure, I feel like, yeah, that could be a car hood. Why not, right? And I would say, for most car hoods, like when you're starting, your base surface, before you add any kind of detail to it, it should look something like this. And, ideally, there's really no reason for it to be over degree 5, right? You should be asking yourself questions if it is. All right. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to make like a little crease. Okay, I'm going to save a copy of this because we're going to just keep using this thing over and over again, right? So we're going to make just like a raised crease in this thing that fades out as you go to the front and just vanishes, right? The idea is that we don't want to be able to see this thing at all, okay? So what I'm going to do, and a lot of what we're going to do is going to depend on using the split by isocurve function. And so an understanding, let's toggle here. So understanding, what are we doing when we're splitting by isocurve? Well, and the important thing is whether or not we're shrinking. This is really the important thing. So when I split by isocurve, I'll just show you. Right, so I've split this surface. Let me go back to shaded view. So in a sense, I've split this surface, but if I turn the points on, you can see it brings up the points of the original base surface, right? So this split that I've done, it's in a way, it's a sub-definition of this overall surface. And this edge here, the advantage is that this edge acts like a perfectly clean, untrimmed edge. The only sort of downside to what we've done is like if I can't match this edge to anything right now because it's inside of this whole surface, right? So if I wanted to make a change to this surface right here, what I would need to do is I would have either needed to use that shrink option, or you can always shrink after the fact. So let me show you what happens when you shrink. So I say shrink trim surf, I feed it the surface, I hit enter, and notice it's now created an explicit version. It is no longer referencing the overall surface, right? We're going to use this property and this idea of when to shrink and when not to shrink all over this tutorial today, right? So I'm going to undo that. So I'm going to just go back into my split command, split by isocurve, and I'm going to leave a little bit of untouched surface here in the front. And then I'm going to split this surface right here. And I'm going to toggle. I want this crease that just kind of runs along the length of my hood, right? And I want it to end here at the near edge where I'm showing you. I want it to be completely blended out, vanished. So I'm going to split this again, and then I'm going to use my little sphere trick. Solid, sphere, center radius. I'm going to use this so that I get even sides here. So I'm just going to do, something like this, whatever looks good. And then I'm going to intersect this and this. Awesome. And now, see, I use that sphere trick so that this line here is basically the same length as this line here, right? So I get an even strip. This is where my crease is going to be. And so now I'm going to split this again. And I'm going to say isocurve. And I'm going to use this endpoint of this intersection, okay? I'm going to do this again. And notice we haven't shrunk anything yet, right? Everything that we've done so far, we've just put these isocurve splits into my base surface. But now, right, we want to turn this center seam here into a raised crease. So I'm going to feed both of these surfaces into shrink trim surf, okay? And so now they both are explicit patches. And all of these, like all these three surfaces here, these are all just like sub-definitions of the same surface. So I want to maintain along this edge and along this edge curvature continuity. And I'm going to raise this center right here. And so what that says to me is if I want to raise this point, say of this, up, and I want this edge to be curvature continuous, I need this to have 4 control points and only grab the edge control point. I think this will make sense once we go through it. I'm going to change degree here. And let's see if we get U and V right. We'll see what happens. Let's say 3 by 3. See what happens. Cool. Okay, and I'm actually going to, front to back, give it even more. I'm going to give it degree 4 is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say 3 by 4. See what happens. Oop. Nope. Got it the wrong way. 4 by 3. Let's see. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing here. So this should be 4 by 3. Awesome. So for each of these, let me just turn on points for one of them. This crease ends here. This is degree 4 in this direction, right? We need 3 rows of control points in order to maintain curvature. So in this direction, I can move any control point past the first 3 rows, including the edge, right? So 1, 2, 3. I can do anything I want here, and this edge here maintains curvature continuity with this. On this edge, we've got 1, 2, 3 that we can't touch, and then we have the edge points, right? So what this means is if I want to maintain curvature here and curvature here, but I want to raise this up, I can do anything I want with this point, and I can do anything I want with this point, right? So I can just pull these up like this. And then all I need to do is, let me turn on the points here. All I need to do is just match this edge to this edge. Match surf by position. Say position, automatic, that's it. Right? And so now what we have is we have this crease that fades out perfectly and very nicely, right? And all we've done is splitting some surfaces, changing some degrees, you know, with an understanding of what we can touch, right? What we can pull around on. And so now, you know, I can take these and I can grab both of these points right here, and I can move these however I want. And I can move these 2 points however I want, right? I can sculpt this thing, and I'm not breaking curvature on any of these edges. I know for a fact that everything is still curvature continuous, right? Here, let me prove it. Let's just feed all this stuff in. And it's going to be not curvature here, right? Not even tangent. But everything else is curvature continuous, except for our crease. Now, all we have to do now, you know, an infinitely sharp crease never looks good. So all we do now is we split this back, and I'm going to use my same little sphere trick so I get a nice little even blend, solid sphere, center radius, and I'm just going to give myself a tiny little, whoop, come here you. Here, stop that. Here, let's just do this. Right? I just want to give myself a tiny little even blend. So same trick as before. Intersect this. And now all we're going to do is split these back by isocurve, right? Yep, let's undo our disable there. Delete that. We don't need to shrink. All we're doing is just trimming this out. And then we can use blend surf. Why not? Right? So let's do blend surf here to here. I'm not going to worry about this yet being watertight. Curvature, curvature, preview. Awesome. So, and that just looks, to my eye, infinitely better when you've just dressed it down a little bit, right? And you can play around with this so easily. You can change how much you trim this back, right? And what we have is something that should be watertight so long as we simply match right here, right? We say match surf, and we match this to this edge, and we can say match by closest points. Position, great. And so now what we should have here, let's join all this together. I'm going to analyze it just to show you. Yeah, VSR is not happy with the Rhino blend. It's saying that blend itself is not curvature continuous. Okay. It's a small enough detail, I'm not going to sweat it, right? But we can, and then another little, just sly little trick here. We can take this and this. We can untrim this. We can take this and say join. We can say dupe border, right? And then we can split this with this border. Throw this out. And join this up. discard this curve, mirror this, there we go, right? We've got these just perfectly fading creases, hard to tell where they end, where they begin. That's sort of what you want. I feel like that's the standard for me at least, where you can't tell where the edges are, right? Super simple, and all we've done is just some isocurve splitting, some changing of degree, a little point editing, a little trimming, a little blending. Super cool, right? So let's say now that we want a different style of hood. We want the kind where you see a whole center section of the hood here sort of raised up and then fade in, fade out completely here at the front. So we can do that too using just the same tricks, right? So I'm going to blow this up. I'm going to just go back to my original surface, untrim this. Bada boom, there we go. And I'm going to just go back. Again, we're going to split by isocurve to start this. We're going to toggle this direction, and I'm just going to leave a little bit here at the front. Okay, and then I'm going to split again here, isocurve, toggle, and this is going to be my raised center section. Okay, and then I want to have it sort of arch up into it. This will make sense when we go through it. So I'm going to split it there too. And then these two, right, we want to make changes to these, so we shrink these. Awesome. So now I'm going to change degree on this again. And we're going to say 4 again. Yeah, let's say 4. Sure, by 2. Awesome. And then on this one, we need to say 4 as well. And we're going to say 3. And this is all going to become apparent why. So I know 1, 2, 3 rows. I got 2 extra rows here. So if I want to raise up my center section, I want this to stay, like to keep its continuity, right? I can just grab these points. I can do whatever I want with them. No problem. I can say, well, maybe I want it to kind of fade in like that. I can play around with this. I could even play around with the shape if I want, right? Super, super simple. And then this one, right? Same thing. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So I can match this edge to this edge and not break continuity along this edge. Match surf. By position, not by closest points. Awesome. And again, just like my previous example, with the points turned on, I can grab these points. I'm grabbing the points on this surface, and I'm grabbing the edge of this too. And I can, again, do whatever I want with this, right? I can decide that I want it to sort of look like this. I can give it whatever kind of shape that I want, right? Until it's giving me my shape, whatever makes me happy. I'll buy that. Sure. And now, super simple, just like the other one. Right? Now all we have to do is just dress down this edge right here. Solid, sphere, center radius, just adding a little guy in here. Oh, it always does this. Okay, let's just sort of eyeball it. Cool. It's going to be a rather sharp little blend. I like it. Oh, I'll intersect this and this. Cool. Good. Split by isocurve. Let's lather, rinse, repeat, people. Let's lather, rinse, repeat, right? Second verse, same as the first. Okay. And this one by isocurve. All right. Delete this. Blend surf again. Awesome. By curvature. Cool. And then I'm going to come in here to this edge right here. And I'm just going to make sure that this is matched to here by closest point. Awesome. I can mirror this thing over. I can join it. I can mirror it. Right? And I've just got this nice detail. Perfectly fades out. And, I mean, what did that take? A minute or two? How many input curves did we have in terms of making surfaces? 0, right? Notice up to this point in this episode, we haven't made a single input curve for making a surface. All we've done is just push stuff around, sculpt it the way we want it, right? And I can take this. We'll do because this trick sort of never gets old for me, right? Where I blow this up. I just like having as few edges in my surfaces as possible. So this makes me happy. Join, dupe border, split this with this curve, right? The reason I'm doing dupe border, I'm using that border curve as my split object, is when you have things like this that are, basically at this end, this surface that I've created, this ray surface, is just sitting right on top of your base surface. It doesn't intersect cleanly. And so a lot of times when people are having trouble, with intersections, I just go to the borders. The borders are more reliable in my book. So, but here we go. Awesome. We join this. We show edges. Everything's watertight, right? Everything's just nice and smooth. And, I mean, how long did that take us? Not very long. Everything's symmetrical. G2. We have a lot of freedom. We can move this stuff around, right? We can still edit it. Pretty cool. So for our last one, we are going to create something like what you see here, where we've got this sort of sunken area, and it's sort of an inverted U. I think this is a little bit reminiscent of like early BMW X5 hoods, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not that much of a car guy. But yeah, how do we make this kind of a shape? Slightly more complicated, but not a lot. So let me show you how we do it. Back to my original surface here. Blow it up again. Just gonna toss this stuff again, and toss all this stuff, and untrim this, right? Guess what we're gonna start with? We're gonna split by isocurve. Oh geez, all right, let's get that other. All right, split. Oh, there we go. Split this by isocurve. Toggle. Sure, we're gonna start this one a little farther back. And then we're gonna determine where it ends. Say back here. And then we're going to split this to have our two lines that sort of go in and out. Right? We've got this sort of racetracky thing here. Now, we want to change this, so we want to shrink it. Right? And then we want to change degree. And this one, I'm going to go 3 and leave the other one 2. Cool. So I only have 4 rows of control points this way now, right? And so I know I'm just going to leave these ones alone. And I can grab these 3 points here, and I can just bring it down. Awesome. Okay. Now, I'm going to start splitting this. I know you never thought you would guess, right? Now, actually, I'm going to use my sphere trick. Solid, sphere, center radius, because I want sort of the distances here to be the same. So we're going to do this. Yep, I like it. And then I'm going to copy this from here over to here. I'm going to intersect. And this. Awesome. Delete these, delete this. Now I'm going to split this by isocurve here and here. Come on now. There we go. Wonderful. And then I'm going to do something very similar back here, right? I'm going to split it by isocurve, toggle, back here. Wonderful. We want to change these three, right? We want to make localized changes to them, so we want to shrink them. Turn on these points. F10. So it's already a degree 3 this way, right? But we want to maintain curvature continuity along this edge. So change degree. So we leave it 3, and then we make this one 3. Awesome. Same thing here. 3 by 3 now. Wonderful. Turn on the points just to verify, always. Right? This one you don't have to do anything. Right? We already know. Away we go. Right? Cool. Match surf. This edge to this edge. Do not match by closest points. Beautiful. We can toss these out. Toss this. Match surf again. This edge to this edge. Okay. We're going to split this edge here. Right? So we're just going to use our edge tools. We're not going to overthink this right now. We're just going to sort of just split them where those want to sit. And then we say match surf again. This to this. Position. See, oh, yep, matches other end curvature. We can say none on here. It's going to be the same. Cool. Awesome. So now things are a little bit strange in here, right? What we want to do to start with is we're like, well, we need to split this back so that we can create a transition here. And ignoring this edge, right, we're going to do the same thing here. Oh, we're going to split this. Isocurve. So we want to create a blend around here, but this corner here is sharp. So we want to trim this corner, right? We want to move these edges back from this corner. This is just a trimmed corner. And I'm just going to eyeball this. I'm not going to overthink this. We're going to trim it here. And we're going to trim it here. Awesome. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. Isocurve, toggle. Do this. We'll do the same thing here. Right? Wonderful. Sure, looks about the same. We're going to make our first set of input curves in this whole tutorial. Right? We're going to do some blend curves. We're going to do a blend curve. We're going to blend this one and this one. And we're going to say curvature. Awesome. And then we're going to blend this curve and this curve. Sweet. And then we're going to blend this curve and this curve. Beautiful. And we're going to blend this one and this one. Awesome. Surface from edge curves. It's going to give us nice clean curves. Right? 1, 2. Oh, nope, not you. Yep. Thank you. There we go. Awesome. So surface from edge curves. Run it again. Surface from edge curves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Now you may be saying, like, what about this thing here? How are we going to fill this in? Well, remember, we've made all these splits, but we haven't shrunk this or this or this or this, right? The base definition of this surface, all four of these surrounding surfaces, is still our entire hood, right? So we're going to use our original entire hood. We're going to untrim this surface eventually to fill in these holes, match it to this, right? So in this case, let's just split this with this curve. We may need to pull onto these, we may not, right? But there we go. Wonderful. Delete this. Oh no, let's see, did it? Yeah, it did actually. Great. Wonderful. Okay, here's something to catch that catches my eye. Notice that this part that we're deleting doesn't go all the way to this edge here, right? So this is going to create problems when we go to match. What we always want to keep our eye out for something like this. And I'm going to go to merge edges, right? And I'm going to see if I can merge. Yep, I can merge this edge. You want this edge to be one single definition, not a tiny little segment and most of it, right? So I'm going to say all for now. Right, that just remerged this entire thing. And then I'm going to say split edges. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to put it at my endpoints here. Right? Super easy. I'm going to match surf here. Actually, I should have done that already, but we'll make it work. We're going to say curvature. We're going to say match target direction. Awesome. We're going to do this. Awesome. It's coming away from my guide curve. My guide curve is just a guide curve. It's just there to get the party started. That's the only purpose that it's there for. Okay? So I don't care that this edge here moved. I care about this being smooth. That's what I care about, right? It'll do the same thing here. Right? We can match surf here, curvature, match target. We can match this here. Awesome. Let's just take a look at this, right? We can ditch these. Oh, nope, not you. Just this little curve. That's all we're going to ditch. Awesome. So, right, we've already got, we're getting there. We're very nearly done on this. I'm going to turn the points on now. Turn the points on. 1, 2, 3. These could be, I'm going to bring the degree up on these. I'm going to just change degree. It's just easier when you have multi-sides that you're trying to match to have slightly higher degree. So I would just by default go like to 5 by 5 for this. When I've already set these edges, and once I have these edges set, only then do I start to worry about my trimmed edges, right? Same thing here. I'm going to change degree on this and just say 5 by 5. Okay, and I'm going to say match surf here, and I'm going to just say, oh gosh, yep, match by closest points, and I'm going to say tangency, and I'm going to say preserve isocurve direction. Right, that is the right answer for a trimmed corner. Awesome. Awesome. Then let's see how much we can get away with here. Right, I'm going to join this together. I'm going to dupe the border. Right, I'm going to untrim this, and I'm going to split this surface here with this surface. I'm going to delete it. Let's see if I get lucky. The only place where I might not get lucky is on these blend edges here, and I could just match those, right? But if I just join these, show edges, right, we're already watertight. It's crazy, right? And then the last thing to do, I mean, here, let's take a look at it already. It's pretty cool, right? Mirror over my x-axis. Awesome. Right, so the last thing to do, in this case, instead of using the iso curves to trim it, I want to keep a constant offset. So I'm actually going to use a pipe is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say dupe edge, not dupe border, but dupe edge. And I'm going to duplicate this one, this one, this one, this one. I'm making just a little racetrack for, I'm going to say that, I'm going to say joint for my pipe, right? Now here's the thing that I find a lot. Oh, actually, we're going to want to split this again. We'll get there, though. So here's the thing that I find a lot with pipe is that a lot of times, or let me just show you. Here, let me split this. Oh, gosh, let's blow this up. Okay, let me split this by ISO, right along this edge right here. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so common problem with pipe happens all the time. I'm gonna pipe this. Sure, some little small diameter. Wonderful. The problem is like, look, like we want to trim this surface, and this pipe doesn't intersect all the way. It's not overbuilt because it comes perpendicular off of this edge. We have probably like, yep, we have the same sort of reciprocal problem on the other side, right? So what I like to do, so as you've seen, a lot of stuff I just start with a straight line, right? I use a straight line on it. So for me, for my hotkeys, my straight line is F1. F1 is just line. And then this extension is an immensely useful tool that I use all the time. And so I'm just going to extend off of this curve here a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing, another extension here, right? And I'm going to join these curves, all three of them. And all I'm doing is I'm overbuilding my pipe curve. So now when I pipe, right, I'm going to pipe around this. Ta-da! Right? It's overbuilt. And so it should trim, right? Let's see here if it'll do it. Let's join all of these minus the pipe. Right, let's join these. Let's split this with the pipe. Let's see if it does it. Who knows? Yep, it did. Cool. Okay, delete this. Nope, not that. Delete the curve. Delete that. And then when I have lots of different, when I look at something like this for making a blend, what I'd kind of rather do is create individual ones and sort of, here, I'll show you. Blend surf. I just like to, oh, and I need to break this up then. I need to break this outer edge up. Oh, look at that. You've already done that. Sure, that'll work fine. Let's look at this one. This one needs to be broken up. Cool. Yep, to the end there. And then to the end here. Awesome. Great. So now it's all over except for the blend surfing. Oh, ha. Let's heal this. Let's merge this edge here. Yep. Good. So that's all merged, and let's look at this. Yep. Let's merge that one. Let's make sure that this is merged. Cool. Awesome. Now we can blend surf. Hopefully. Ha. I'm sure it'll make an ass of me. Cool. That works great. I'm not going to worry about this little functification going on here. I'm just going to match that when I'm done. Right? Cool. There goes another. Let's get this one. Cool. And then, so stuff like this, this is why I like to keep control and do these kind of individually, right? Is that I can go and I can add shapes and I can just kind of straighten these things out so that they just don't have these wobbles that to my eye look a little silly, right? And if we're going to do this properly, right, we need to go back and match these edges, right? I'm just kind of blasting through this, showing process, showing technique. But you know, if you're polishing this up, you want to use your match surf to make sure everything's all happy. Cool. Sure. Why not? I like it. I mean, who knows? There's a chance it goes watertight. Let's see. Right? Join. Show edges. Yeah, so we've got, obviously we knew these were going to be naked down here, right? We've got one here that we can close up as well. Let me see what's going on. Oh, of course. Here, let's do this. Let's blow this up. What we have here is we have a bad edge split definition. So we just merge this edge. Cool. We can run blend surf again. And we want to add our shapes again. See, I should have got that the first time around, but I didn't. No biggie. You know, we're just taking all the wobble and wonk out of these things here. Why not? Cool. I'm happy with that. And what we can do here, right, we can say match surf. Just by tangency. Automatic. Awesome. And we're going to go down here. And I'm going to break this edge this time, actually. Oh, nope, that one's actually interesting. Let's heal that then. Right, let's merge this. Merge this edge. Here, let's merge it all. Split it. This is just the finicky stuff, right, to bring it home. You already know basically everything I'm showing you. Oh, this is funny. Sometimes it thinks of these as trimmed for some reason. There's no reason for it to be trimmed. So I just match by position. We're just going to match by position. Oh, geez. Silly. Right? Let's just do this the right way. Let's merge this here. Let's just say all. And let's just go back and split it one more time. This thing's making a monkey of me at the very end, isn't it? All right. Blend surf. Cool. And then match surf here again. Let's see if this wants to cooperate. Sure, we can say by closest. No problem. Okay. Turn our points off. Join. Show edges. There we go. Then we can, you know, our only nakeds are around the edge, or on the border, rather. We can blow this up again. We can do my same silly trick that makes me so happy. Okay, good. Join all this. Show edges. Ta-da! Mirror. X. Join. Cool. So, you know, all the time on this is at the back end just doing detailing, which is, I mean, welcome to surface modeling, right? You know, you saw how quickly we were able to just block out and get these surfaces to do what we want, right? And the only thing to realize is, like, we're trading speed and ease with this method by splitting by isocurve. We're trading that for a little bit of control. And so what this means is, like, let's say instead of having these edges here sort of echo this edge, right? Let's say instead we want these to go straight across, right? Well, very similar approach, but across this here, we would actually want to make a trim, right? Not split by isocurve, but actually trim it, like project a curve, however you want to do it, and trim it. And so you'd have a trimmed edge, so right now we have this edge when we matched this to this, that was, this was split by isocurve, this was the same degree as that surface, right? So you're adding in just a little bit of extra complexity if you want to have that kind of control. But this is a great way to start in terms of making clean surfaces. And, again, it's like this just vanishes into the front, right? And yeah, super fun. So I hope you see how powerful it can be to just split by isocurve. You kind of want to set your models up so that you can split by isocurve when you do need to split. That's always the first preference. If you need to make a trim, go ahead and make a trim. But it's always so much nicer to be able to split by isocurve because you end up with these really, really easy matches and really easy continuity, and it keeps your surfaces simple. It just makes your life much easier. If the shape you're going for doesn't allow that, cool, no problem. Just understand it's just like a little bit more difficult because then you're dealing with, instead of an isocurve split edge, you're dealing with a trimmed edge, right? But these are super, super fun for me. I love doing this kind of stuff. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this chapter.